In this week's lectures, in this week 4, we're going to talk about two technologies that support the development of medical software. We're going to talk about quality management systems and risk management. So our objectives are to cover quality management system and risk management. These are the supporting technologies that underlie all of this development. All the work in medical software happens within the context of quality management systems and under the support, under the guidance of a risk management procedure. We have 6 segments. The first one will introduce quality management systems. The next 2 will review this very important guidance document from the IMDRF on quality management systems. Then we'll introduce risk management, and then we'll have 2 more segments to describe the risk management process. For extra reading, you can go to the textbook to look at chapters 4 on quality management systems and 5 on risk management, and this is where the material in this lecture comes from. So quality management systems, let's introduce the topic here. The American Society for Quality defines this as a quality management system is defined as a formalized system that documents processes, procedures, and responsibilities for achieving quality policies and objectives. A QMS helps to coordinate and direct an organization's activities to meet customer and regulatory requirements and to improve its effectiveness and efficiency on a continuous basis. So it's a rule book for the company, and concretely, as we'll hear in the video clip that's coming up, it's just a set of standard operating procedures that tells us how to do things. So if we want to summarize a QMS, it is we have to do the right thing the right way by following an explicit plan in an appropriate environment. That's kind of my summary. And for a little bit more of a discussion on this, we'll have a video clip from Dr. Fan Lu from the Brain Electrophysiology Laboratory that will tell us a little bit more about this.
It is a set of procedures. The procedures make up a system. The procedures ensure that you manage the development of the product from conception all the way to the end, when it gets out into the customer. And that as the customers are using it, their experiences are systematically fold back into your evaluation of your device. The goal of all of it is to demonstrate that whatever you're building, whether it's software, hardware, or a pharmaceutical agent or whatever, that it is safe and effective. Those are the 2 key words, safe and effective, that the regulatory bodies are concerned with when they evaluate your device. And to effectively evaluate your device and have confidence, they want to know if you follow best practices, and that's the quality management system.
So defining a quality management system, what these best practices are for medical software, our first source are the 3 international standards that are relevant to this area. ISO 9001 is the parent standard for quality management systems. This applies to any kinds of business. There's a set of guidelines from the ISO 90003, which is the guidelines for the application of ISO 9001 to computer software. And finally, the most critical one for us is ISO 13485, which is a quality management system medical device standard. And this is what forms the basis of much of the QMS that many companies use for medical software. The FDA has its own quality management systems rules. If we go back to the quality system regulation, here's the definition they use. Quality system means that the organizational structure, responsibilities, procedures, process, and resources from implementing quality management. The whole thing, this is what a quality management system is. It's similar in spirit to ISO 13485. We'll have more on this later. And there's some divergence, but all of these things are in the process of harmonization. So if we discuss the ISO 13485, most of what you'll hear is very similar to the details of what the FDA requires, and in fact, we make it closer over time. Just to take a look again at the European regulation, this is what a QMS has to be according to the MDR, the Medical Device Regulation, and this is a little bit more detailed than what the FDA has. Let's just look at the 10 components here. It has to include a strategy for compliance, identification of applicable general safety and performance requirements, an exploration of options to address this, responsibility of the management, we'll come back to this, resource management, including selection and control of suppliers and subcontractors. This is an important component, especially in software. Risk management, clinical evaluation, including critically PMCF, post-market clinical follow-up. Product realization, including planning, design, development, production, and service provision, verification of unique device identifiers, setting up implementation and maintenance of post-market surveillance systems, and the list goes on to handling communication with competent authorities, the government agencies that monitor you, processes for reporting of serious incidents and field corrective actions, management of corrective and preventative actions and verifications of their effectiveness, and then the final step, processes for monitoring and measurements of outputs, data analysis, and product improvement. And this is kind of a striking feature of all of this quality work. The end product includes product improvement. The company takes feedback, monitors everything it does, and then uses it to create better products. And this is the essence of a quality management system. So to summarize, a QMS means that we're intentional about what we do. The roles are formally assigned. The procedures for all tasks are explicitly defined ahead of time. And this allows us to follow best practice as to how to organize a company and a project. So in the presence of a proper quality management system, this gives us a handle on what the best way to do this process is. The best way as defined by the consensus of experts in the field, regulators, industry experts, and others. And if you follow this, you're doing what the consensus of the field is. You're doing things the best way, the right way. And this is what you want to follow, whether your product is subject to regulatory approval or not, because this will help you optimize your tasks. So continuing on, let's just take a look at the standards here. ISO 9001 is the international standard for quality management systems. It offers companies a framework to use to ensure quality in the design, manufacture of goods and services. And companies can be certified as ISO 9001 compliant. You may see signs as you walk around, we are ISO 9001 compliant. And the certification here is an ongoing event. You're often audited by a registrar, often once or two times a year, to ensure compliance. Now, medical device companies are certified to ISO 13485, but you will often see all kinds of companies go through this process. Accounting companies, for example, can be ISO 9001 certified. What is the structure of this document? Well, we have the usual preamble and definitions that you'll see in all international standards, then a discussion of the organization, leadership, planning, support, operation, evaluation, and improvement. Now, you would think that a quality management system will focus on operation, and it does, but increasingly, the emphasis is shifting to the company itself, the leadership, the planning, the support, and the backend, evaluation and improvement. All of those things constitute the best practice for running a company. So let's just look at one section of this, and we'll compare ISO 9001 and ISO 90003 just to give you a flavor. ISO 9001 says the organization should determine external and internal issues that are relevant to its purpose and its strategic direction that affect its ability to achieve the intended results of its quality management system. So this is sort of a generic description for all kinds of companies. It's something to keep in mind. The organization shall monitor and review for this information about these external and internal issues. So now if you go to the software standard 90003, it says, in part, use of cloud, application tools, and storage. This can be of economic benefit as well as to provide for business continuity, but needs research to ensure there is no increased risk to the organization in using the cloud services provided. So that's just guidelines as to how you should approach the use of cloud services as a matter of best practices. The medical device standard for quality management is ISO 13485, and you can actually see the core sections here. Again, of course, the focus is on product realization, but all the other components are there. And if you look at 13485, it will get into details that are medical specific. Things like sterilization will come into this description. We are not going to go through this standard directly. This is about the last time we'll mention it explicitly. Instead, we will focus our discussion in the next two segments on the description of the guidance from the International Medical Device Regulators Forum. So the reason for this is that this is both specific to software and it's freely available. And in every section, this has statements of the form, well, the concepts presented in this section relate to clauses 4 and 5 in ISO 13485. So in the next couple of segments, we'll work through a description of this QMS guidance from the MDRF. It has the advantage that it is freely available, and this makes it ideal teaching material for students, and the specificity on software makes it easier to navigate it without having to say, well, this doesn't really apply to software, this is sterilization, we don't have to worry about it. So we'll stop here, and in the next two segments, we'll go through this very important guidance document. Thank you.